Welcome to another Sunday School Short. Today we are in Mark 3 and Luke 6. We're walking chronologically through the New Testament as it happened in history, so there's going to be some overlap, several different viewpoints, but one main result. Don't neglect the reading. This is just a small synopsis of my daily Bible reading. I can't hit everything. Hit that bell notification for when new videos come out. Like, subscribe, and share if this is a blessing to you. Mark 3, verses 1 through 6 parallels Matthew 12. Speaking of when he heals a man with a deformed hand on the Sabbath day. Mark adds that he asked the man to come stand before the crowd in front of everyone. Then Jesus turns to his critics and looks at them one by one. Does the law permit good deeds to be done on the Sabbath? Is it a day for doing good, or is it a day for doing evil? Is it a day to save a life or to destroy it? They wouldn't answer his question. Jesus went on to the man and said, "Hold out your hand," and then he restored it. At that point, the Pharisees and the religious leaders again gathered to plot to kill him. Verses 7 through 12, Jesus healed people on the Sea of Galilee, many people from many different regions crushing in on him. He instructed his disciples to have a boat ready, and when he removed the evil spirits, it says they would shriek, "You are the Son of God." So even the demons know who Jesus is. So we've got to do more than know who he is. We have to know him personally. Jesus sternly warned them not to say who he was. And in 20 through 30, verses 20 through 30, it talks about the house divided. You've seen the license plate, house divided. Well, this is the story where it comes from. Pharisees were saying Jesus gets his power from Satan, and Jesus was like, how can Satan cast out Satan? A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. Who is powerful enough to enter a house of a strong man like Satan and plunder all his goods? Only someone stronger, he says. He answers them. And in 31 through 35, it parallels again Matthew 12, when his mothers and brothers come to visit him, and they ask to see him, and he says, "Who are my mother and brothers? Anyone who does the will of God." Verse 35. And in Luke 6, verses 1 through 5, we see a parallel again from Matthew 12 and Mark 2, where grain fields, Jesus and the disciples are walking through the grain fields, and the Pharisees accuse them of harvesting grain on the Sabbath day. And Jesus answers in verse 5, "The Son of Man," which is the title he gave himself, "is Lord even over the Sabbath." See, Sabbath is meant for a day of rest. It was meant for a day of worship. It's not to bang people over the head with it, with religious restrictions. It is meant for the people. And God knew that we needed rest. He knew that we needed to detach from our business dealings. He knew that we needed to worship. We're going to worship something. You're going to worship a movie star or a football team or whatever. We were designed and created to worship, but we should point that worship to the one who is truly deserving of it, Jesus. Verses 6 through 11 says, talks about the man with the deformed hand again, except Luke adds that it was his right hand, and he adds that he looked to his critics one by one. Excuse me, I said that was Mark 3, but it's Luke 6, where he looked at the critics one by one, and he told the man to hold out his hand at that point, and then he restores it. Verses 17 through 19, in healing the crowds, Luke adds that everyone tried to touch him because of his healing power went out from him, and he healed everyone. Verses 6 through 12, Jesus prayed on the mountaintop that night, and at daybreak, he called his disciples together, and he chose 12 of them to be apostles. And we interchange a lot of times disciples and apostles. We're all disciples. If you're a follower of Jesus, that means a learner. I'm a learner of Jesus. An apostle means that you're a messenger. You're sent out for further training, etc., like that. They were not always listed by the same name, so you'll see in when we get to different versions of Mark, they'll be listed in a different way. But the guy Peter and Simon and Cephas, they were all the same guy, all Simon Peter. And there was a guy Judas. One was Judas Iscariot, and he was the one that betrayed Jesus, but there was also another Judas named Thaddeus. They interchangeable names, same name, just like I'm Rob, but my legal name's John Robert. Verses 20 through 26, Jesus's version, Luke's version of the Beatitudes. Most often we'll read them from Matthew 5 is where we'll see them from. That'll look more normal, what you hear in church, that type of thing. Verse 22, what blessings await when people hate you and exclude you and mock you and curse you as evil because you follow the Son of Man. Be happy, leap for joy, it says, for a great reward, for there is a great reward for you in heaven. Verses 27 through 38, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. Pray for those who hurt you. If someone slaps you on the cheek, offer the other one as well. Verse 31, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's Luke 6:31. Verse 35, love your enemies, do good to them. Then your reward from heaven will be very great, and you will be truly acting as children of the Most High. Do not judge others, or you will be judged, and you will not be judged. Forgive others, and you will be forgiven. Give, and you will receive. Your gift will return to you full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. And that's like when you're shearing sheep. Everything was an analogy of agriculture and harvesting and raising flocks and those types of wording, because that's what the people understood during that time of these writings. So imagine a bag of sheep wool just being pressed down, running over, shaking. You're shaking it to make more room for more. You're pressing it down again, and then it still flows over into your lap. That's what God wants to give the giver. Okay? Verse 41, why worry about the speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own eye? Boom! We all got that. I got that, too much of that. First, get rid of the log in your own eye, then you'll see well enough to help the friend with his speck. Okay, so deal with your own business before you start being judgmental or helping or criticizing or critiquing or whatever you want to call it, other people. Verse 43, a good tree can't produce bad fruit, and a bad tree can't produce good. A good person produces good things from the treasury of a good heart, and vice versa. What you say flows from what is in your heart. Verse 47, I'll show you what it's like when someone comes to me, listens to my teachings, and then follows them. It's like a person who digs deep, lays the foundation on solid rock. When the floodwaters rise, and they will, the house stands firm. But anyone who hears and doesn't obey is like the person who builds their foundation on sand. The floods come, and the house will collapse. Again, God bless you. Don't neglect the reading. There's too much good stuff in here. Like, subscribe, and share. God bless you. Have a great day.